Hi everybody, I'm Diane Mulligan and I am a teacher, artist, and writer from Central Massachusetts. In this video, I'm going to show you the process I used to paint this little winter landscape using just two colors, French ultramarine and burnt sienna. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the whole process, but I am going to do that pretty quickly. In real time, this took me about an hour to do this little sketchbook study, and I'm going to show it to you in about 5 minutes. So this is going to be the fast version. If you're interested in real-time demos and you want to learn watercolor from me or other really talented teachers, definitely check out the website for Two Bridges Art Academy, where you can learn about our upcoming classes, where there will be real-time demos in every class and you'll be able to learn at your own pace. All right, let's talk about the materials I used for this painting. As I said, I'm using only two pigments today. So that is, I'm using Daniel Smith colors, burnt sienna and French ultramarine. And you'll see in the video that I'm using my little travel palette. This palette I have modified and it holds 21 half pans. I don't normally use this in my studio, but I wanted to make sure you could see my palette and mixing wells in the video, so you'll see that when we get into the demo. For this painting, I only need two brushes. So I have a medium size round brush here. This is a size 10 Princeton Neptune. And I have a rigger brush. This is a Princeton Aqua Elite size 4 rigger. I will also be using a tiny bit of white gouache, and this is actually a Daniel Smith titanium white gouache that I've squeezed into a little airtight container, which keeps it from drying out. And if I use white, I really want it to stay very pure white. I don't want it to mix with anything else, so I keep it totally separate from my palette. And I will be painting in my favorite sketchbook. This is a Hannah Mule Nostalgia sketchbook. It's 100% cotton paper. It performs really, really well. And so that's my sketchbook of choice. One other tool that I'll be using in this, besides a pencil, I will be using a little bit of masking fluid. I decided that I wanted the trees in the painting, a few of the more prominent trees, to come through as birch trees, which means I wanted them to be white and I didn't want to have to paint around them. So I did use a little bit of masking fluid. All right, let's go to the demo. All right, a word about the photo reference I'm using for this painting. So my preference as an artist is to work from life, whether I'm on plein air or objects in real life, people in real life, as much as possible. But obviously the weather doesn't always allow that, and my schedule doesn't always allow that. So when I'm working in my studio from photographs, I like to use that opportunity to practice skills and techniques and to try out different approaches. This photo reference, I really liked the composition of the stream and these kind of lumpy swoops of snow over the rocks in the stream bed, but the colors in it aren't very exciting. I think if I painted this and tried to stay, realistic with the colors that I see in the photograph, it wouldn't be a very interesting painting. It wouldn't convey the feeling that I'm after. So that's the reason I decided to do just two colors, so that I could bring out blue in the shadows and make those shadows really lively and get a very unified feel to the painting that feels like a hike on a cold winter day when you're standing there and it's almost a monochrome day. It's fairly gray in the photo. There's not a lot of color, but I think monochrome can be very interesting, especially with granulating colors like ultramarine. And so I thought that by using just two colors, I would get more of the feeling of standing in this place than if I tried to stay so-called realistic. So let's see how that worked. Okay, so I'm beginning here with my simple pencil sketch, and I'm using the photograph largely as inspiration. I'm not trying to be 100% faithful to it, but just getting a sense of the shape of those rocks and the overall composition. I'm drawing pretty lightly because I don't want the pencil lines to be particularly visible. Then I decided to use masking fluid because I would like the foreground trees to be birch trees. Once I've got my drawing down, I'm putting in an extremely watery wash for my background colors, and I'm trying to regularly change up the mix and the ratio of ultramarine and burnt sienna. Once that really soft mid-tone layer is completely dry, I can come back in and start to develop the values of the painting. The background here needs to be pretty dark, so I'm trying to build up both the value and also create a lot of texture because, as you could see in that photo reference, the background is really chaotic. Then building up my darks with my mixture of burnt sienna and French ultramarine, I'm putting in the rocks and the stream, trying to create that feeling of that dark winter water and the dark rocks. Just continuing to gradually build up, right, over the course of several layers, building up textures, building up values, but never straying from my simple two colors that I initially set out with here. You can see just continuing to adjust as I deepen the values of the darks throughout the painting. I'm then also going to have to increase that mid-tone shadow on the snow. So here you see I'm developing that shadow further because once the darker values came in, it got lost a little bit. And once that's all dry, I can take off the masking fluid to paint my birch trees that are more in that foreground here. And as I'm going along, I'm trying not to overwork it. I'm trying not to fiddle too much. So once I have reached this point in this painting, it's time to stop and assess. I felt that I lost too much of the white in the middle ground there and lost some of the definition on the rocks in the stream bed because of that. So I decided to take my white gouache straight out of my container and restore some of those whites and also spatter in some snow for a good wintry feel. And that's the end of my painting. As I said, in real time, this took me about an hour, not counting dry time, but I hope this gave you a good overview of what the process is like. Thanks for watching.